Hey YouTube, this is KingCobraJFS with another video, and I'd like to give a shout out to Thomas Welch. This 5 is for KingCobraJFS. Thanks for the support. He donated to the cause I mentioned. Right now the cause has a total of 45 shares with 40 on Facebook and 5 tweets about it. So far we're at 155 of 1,500, so awesome. Being as I'm wearing my "Weed the People" t-shirt, and it features a very patriotic pot leaf here. I'm gonna play the chunk of the national anthem that I do know. I've been working on it all day here, so scooch back here so you can actually see me play the guitar. So that's as far as I've gotten in the song, which isn't bad, you know. It's just taken me a while to learn it because, again, I'm not the fastest learner, and I get very easily frustrated with the mistakes I make. And so because of that, if I feel like it's frustrating me too much, I put the guitar down for a couple of days and not worry about it. But that's as far as I've gotten in the song so far, so yeah. But it is like 9:24 at night, and I'm pretty sure some of my neighbors don't want to hear my shitty guitar playing, so go ahead and turn that off. And speaking of marijuana, haha, a recent video by TYT, I think we all need to watch it. So I'm going to go to YouTube. This is a How to Decrease Overdose Deaths by TYT.
More and more studies are coming out indicating that there are positive effects of marijuana use. Recently we did a story about how couples, married couples who smoke marijuana are less likely to engage in domestic violence. There was a strong correlation in that study. And now there is a correlation between states that have legalized medicinal marijuana and a decrease in overdoses of opioids or painkillers. So let me give you some more information on this. Now, the researchers look specifically at 23 U.S. states where medical marijuana has been legalized. Here's what they found. In states with a medical marijuana law, overdose deaths from opioids like morphine, oxycodone, and heroin decreased by an average of 20% after 1 year, 25% by 2 years, and up to 30% by years 5 and 6, compared to what would have been expected according to results in JAMA, Internal Medicine, which is the journal where the results were published. So here's what they also found in areas where medical marijuana is not available. Meanwhile, opioid overdose deaths across the country increased dramatically from 4,030 in 1999 to 16,651 in 2010, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. 3 of every 4 of those deaths involved prescription pain medications. So what you're seeing in states where medicinal marijuana is not available is, and this is the hypothesis, they still have to prove this, but this is the hypothesis behind the study. They're saying in states where medicinal marijuana is not available to relieve pain, people get conventional painkillers, opioids, like what you will get when you get prescribed Norco or whatever, oxycodone, morphine. Heroin. Yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah. And so now, all of a sudden, regulators are getting involved, and they're like, dude, too many people people are addicted to these painkillers, and so we need to make it more difficult for them to get a prescription. And since it's become more difficult to get the prescription, and since these drugs are costlier, they're actually resorting to heroin on the streets, which leads to the overdoses. So you're seeing that, you know, very, very sharp contrast between medicinal marijuana states and states that do not have medicinal marijuana available.
But how are prescription drug companies going to allow medical marijuana to be legalized everywhere, because they are going to be out so much money?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually, I think it was earlier today, I read an article that they looked at people who were sponsoring ads against marijuana legalization, whether medicinally or recreationally. I apologize, I don't remember exactly which state it was in, but most of the companies were prescription drug companies.
Duh,
which makes a lot of sense. And of course, and then you also have some of the beer companies as well. Yeah, I don't know why that, in terms of the death toll, why that would be allowed, but also significantly, like, I mean, the fact that there's so much propaganda in the media about the dangers of marijuana when we know they're not dangerous, but that people are allowed to get to the point where they can become addicted to prescription painkillers and have no idea about how dangerous they are, about how many die from that. Like, we think because a doctor in a lab coat gives it to us, it can't possibly be dangerous, when there's some of the most dangerous substances that you can ingest.
So I've told this story before, but I think that it's a perfect example of how backwards our laws are. So my mom has chronic kidney disease, right? And so as a result, she has to get something known as dialysis. Dialysis is when they literally hook you up to a machine that takes your blood out, cleanses it, and then puts it back into your body. And so she had to have a surgery called a fistula so they can connect the machine to her arm. And it's a painful surgery, and afterwards you're in a lot of pain. And the doctor told me, you know, I'm going to prescribe pain medication to your mom. I think it was Norco. And he said she should not take it unless she desperately needs it, because this will further destroy her kidney function. Okay? Ooh. You know what would not destroy her kidney function? Marijuana. But you know what she can't take? Marijuana, even though we live in California and medicinal marijuana is legal here, because she is on a kidney waiting list. And you are not allowed to get a kidney donation if you are using drugs that are federally banned. And of course, marijuana is federally banned. It's a Schedule I drug.
That is sick. And I don't mean to pump too much drama into the situation, especially because it's obviously so personal, but that I would not have a problem accusing the government of basically warranting my mother a death sentence.
Yeah. Or at the very least, allowing her to suffer in pain, because they continue to fuel this prohibition against marijuana, because there are people that make money off the prohibition. That's what it's all about.
That is so sick,
yeah.
What you just said.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind that that's legal, that they can get away with that.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't know if, you know, the feds know about these very specific stories. I don't know if they care, but it's happening. It goes beyond people that are being incarcerated for simple possession. There are people that are literally suffering the consequences of taking these prescription pain medications when they could have had something like marijuana, which, by the way, you don't even have to smoke. They keep making the argument that if you smoke it, it's going to harm your lungs. Yeah. You can consume it in other ways, right? And it would be much less painful. It would be much less damaging to your body.
Right.
When we look at the progress that we've had just in the past 10 years, in terms of not just medicinal marijuana, but now even in multiple states, recreational marijuana, when we know that it's going to be changed nationally, whether in 2 years or 10 years or 20 years, we know it's not going to stay the way it is. All of the deaths between now and then are completely 100% unnecessary, and the drug manufacturers and the politicians are perfectly willing to let another 10 or 20 or 30,000 people die needlessly from prescription painkillers because they just don't have the balls or the knowledge to change the policy of marijuana.
I know, you could get super high and decide you can fly, or eat 18,000 Twinkies and die of a blood sugar, whatever. Don't give me that bullshit argument. Everybody knows that you have to smoke a pallet of marijuana to die from it, and
you fall asleep before then.
It basically can't be done. So kids who sneak into their parents' medicine chest, is that a thing? Whatever. And, take a couple of pills and stop breathing that night. That doesn't happen when you smoke weed. Yeah. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. So people who are lobbying against marijuana because they want to make money off of it should stop, because you're losing money at this point. Instead, you legalize it and you share the wealth. I mean, when marijuana has the potential to make our country over $120 trillion a year, I think it's more than enough wealth to share, okay? And the thing of it is, you know, if you split the cost of marijuana and what it makes 6 different ways, you know, your public and resources, your building stuff, the companies who are losing money from it being legalized, private funding, and other stuff, you know what I'm saying? And just split it 6 different ways, okay? It makes sense, okay? Doing this, you share the wealth, you generate a pretty awesome economy, and here's the thing. Wyoming, if you legalize it, think about this for a second. We're an oil state, right? We make a lot of money off of oil. You add marijuana to that equation, holy shit. We would be filthy fucking rich. I'm just saying, okay? But again, some people don't want marijuana legalized in Wyoming for people of ages 21 years of age or older because they're afraid that with all the loose gun laws that, you know, don't give me that bullshit argument, okay? Crime rate has gone down in Colorado since legalization. Plain and simple, okay? So, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Anyway, this is KingCobraJFS with another video. Thanks for watching. See y'all later.